We have also insurance as a fixed expense. So we're going to say your 8,000 plus 7,000 plus 900. And then we get a total of 50,900. So you have 15,900 on this part. Then going to the next question, it is which item under the income and expenditure statement is occasional? Of course, occasional is something that is are not regular, which are transpires after some time. So if you check according to what we have under the income and expenditure, and we have the income and expenditure on this part, and something that does not happen or transfer each and every time, we can see that we've got repairing a broken car, something and that is not encountered each and every time. So it becomes the response that we have in terms of an occasional. So we have repairing broken car is an occasional. Then 1.3.3, Lufudo says that that variable costs including medical aid make no less than 12.98% of total budget income. Use your calculation to show that it is correct. So of course we're going to the budget section, which is this side, and then we check in terms of the variable costs, but excluding medical aid, of which medical aid we have it at this part. So we are going to exclude that one, and then we check other variable costs that we have. So according to our information, you'd see that the variable costs that we have got food here is one of the variable costs. We have also water, electricity. We have also entertainment. We have also petrol. And the savings becomes not part of variable. So with that now, we are going to add 2,382 plus 860 plus 1,500 plus 2,000. And then we divide by the budget. Remember, they are saying of total budget income. So the total budget that we have it there, which we have given it as 52,000, which is the total for income. So on our calculation, our numerator is going to be 2,392. And then we add your 860, and then we add your 1,500. And then we add your 2,000. And of course, this is the last item that we have. And the answer that you are going to get on this part, you divide by the total budget, which is 52,000. So we divide, and we see that in our terms of our calculation, we have to express it as a percentage to check if it's not less than 4.98. So we multiply by 100 over 1. We express it as a percentage. So we can just try to calculate and see what do you get. It is equal to 4.98%. Obviously to two decimal places. And then our question is saying not less than 12.98, which is correct because it is equal to 12.98. So we're saying Lutuno is correct. So commonly you're saying Lutuno. Is correct. So this is what we have on this part. And of course, this is our question 1. So we move on to question 2. Question 3 reads below is a drawing of a container and the box needs to be packed in the container. The sketches are not drawn to scale. So this is what we have in terms of the measurements. Of course, we've got a small box and then we've got the container on this side. Then The question that is used to give an information to answer the following questions. First part, you have to calculate the area of the shaded rectangle side. Of course, the shaded is this part that we have here. And of course, we have to calculate the area, of which we have the height on this part, and of course, we have what are the width that we have on this part. So for that part now, we are going to say our 10.2, and then we multiply by the height. The height we're given it is 6.5. So we calculate 10.2 times 6.5. So we have 10.2 centimeters, and then we multiply by 6.5. So we calculate it like that to get 66.3 square centimeters. So this is what we have in terms of the area of the shaded rectangle. Then we go to 3.1.2, calculate the volume of the small box. Width and height. Of course, the small box is this side, so we have same length times width times height. We have got our length, our width, and then our height. But of course, if you check, our width is in millimeters, and we have to first convert those millimeters to centimeters. So we can start by removing what we have. So we know that 1 centimeter is 4 millimeters. So to convert this 87, we're going to say 87 and divided by 10. Then we get 8.7 centimeter. So now using the formula, length times width times height, we are going to say our length and what we have is 10.2. The width is 87, which is 8.7 centimeters. And our height is 6.5. 6.5 centimeters. So we calculate within that context. Let's see what we get. See that we're going to get 576. 0.81 cubic centimeters. So that becomes our volume. And moving on to 3.1.3, calculate the number of small boxes that can be packed in the container if the length of the small box is packed along the width. So very important in terms of matching the length of the small box and the width, of course, of the container, and also the length of the container. So it means the length of the small box is going to be the denominator of the width, also the denominator of the length. So for the calculation, we are going to say our width of the box. We check in terms of the width of the box, which we are given it is 42.1. So we have 42.1. So we're going to say 42.1. That is on the width, and then we divide by the length of the small box. The length of the small box, we have it here, it is 10.2. So we divide by 10.2. Then if we divide, you're going to get 4.2, which is 2 to the nearest whole number. Of course, if you check here, you see that we are going to be your 4. So we have 4 boxes. 4 boxes on that side. And then on the second part, whereby we are going to have the length as the numerator, and then also length as the numerator, then the length of the small box as the denominator. So length of the container, we have it as 54.8. So we are going to say 54.8. And then we divide again by the length of the small box, which is 10.2. So we divide there and see what we get. So you're going to see that you're going to get your answer is 5.3, which is also equal to 5 boxes to the nearest one number. So if you check here, we 3 won't change our 5 and the next is 5 boxes. So now to get your number of boxes, the number of boxes now, the total number of boxes, you're saying number of boxes is supposed to be your 4 times your 5. So it means your 4 times your 5, and then you get your answer is 20 boxes. So this is what is being asked is calculate the number of small boxes on this part, number of small boxes, which we have as 20 boxes. So that's what we have for that part. Then we move on to the next question. So on the next question, it says calculate the number of small boxes that can be placed in the container of the height of the small box. If the height of the small box is pegged along the width and height of the container. So we are saying width of the container, width of container. Of course, this is going to be over the height of the small box, of which height of the small box we are given it is 6.5. So we divide by height of small box. So in this case, we are saying width of the container. Width of the container, we are given it is 42.1. So we are saying 42.1, and then we divide by the height of small box, which we identified as 6.5. Which is going to give you your answer is 6.47, which will be 6 boxes. Then we go to the other side whereby we are saying height of the container, which is this one. And then we divide by still height of the small box. Height of small box. So height of the container, we check what we have in terms of the height of the container, which we are given here is 33.5. It will divide by height of small box, which we are given is 6.5. So we can try to calculate and see what we get. So if you calculate on that part, you're going to get it as 5.2, which is equal to 5 boxes. And a number of boxes will be 6 times 5, which is 6 times 5, and then you get your answer is 30 boxes. So this is your final answer. And from there, you see that this is what we have on 3.1.4. We move on to the next part, which is now our question 4. So question 4 is The street map shows the distance from Johannesburg to Durban. Susan will be driving from Johannesburg to Pietermaritzburg. So this is the map that we have. Then the first part says describe the route including the distance Susan will follow. And we are being told that Susan is traveling from Johannesburg to Pietermaritzburg, which Johannesburg we have here, and we have Pietermaritzburg in this part. So this is what we have. So the route is this way whereby we have got N3. So it's going to use N3. So in our response, we are saying N3. And then in terms of the distance, you know that from Durban, from Pietermaritzburg to Johannesburg, of which are from Durban, which is 0, going up to Johannesburg is we see that is 550. We can just check according to what we have. We've got 557. So this is 557. But then from Durban to Pietermaritzburg, we've got 69, which is here. So it means the distance that we want is from Pietermaritzburg to Johannesburg. So we can just remove the 69 that we have from here to here. So that we are left from Joburg. So on our calculation, now we're going to say 557 minus 69, so that we are left from Pietermaritzburg to Johannesburg. So 557 minus 69. 557 minus 69. And we're going to get your answer is 488. So the way is 83, the distance being 488 kilometers. So that is what we have for that part. Move on to the next question, which is saying calculate the total return distance in the 4.1 above. Of course, return, we are saying one way is 488. And when we have a return, we multiply by 2. So we do that, you get 976 kilometers. So basically that's what we have on that part. So from that now, we move on to the next part. So on the next part, we have 4.1.3. Saying mention other national roads on the above map. So other roads that we have, we see that we have got N5, which we have on this part. We have N5, but we can easily identify there. And then, of course, we check again. We have N11 on this part. So these are the other two roads that we have, N5 and N11. So on this part, we are saying N5 and N11. Then on the next part, what is the distance between Villiers and Harrismith? So we identify the Villiers and then we identify Harrismith. Harrismith is on this part. And we check where we have our Villiers, which we are going to have on this part. So Harrismith and Villiers. So we check what distance do we have there. Of course, here we have got 440, and here we have got 289. 289. So obviously, to calculate the distance that we have on this part, we are going to So this is the distance that we want to calculate. So we're going to say from Durban to Villiers is 440, and then from Durban to Harrismith is 289. So to get this one, we are going to subtract 440. Now that's 289. See what we get there. And then we get you is 151 kilometers. 151 kilometers. So that's the calculation that we have on that part. Then for the next question, Susan says the distance from Johannesburg and Escort is shorter. It is shorter than the distance from Pietermaritzburg and Villiers. So calculations if she is correct or not. So we can start with Johannesburg and Escort and see what distance do we have. So of course, Johannesburg, we have it here. And then Escort, we are having it here, of which this is where we have our Escort, which is on this part. So to calculate the distance, you'd see that we can go the other way, the other side whereby we're starting from 0 going down. So to Escort, we have if we check again, our Escort is on this part, so we've got 391. So it means we use the other side, we have 391. So the distance for the ones to Escort with 391. The one with the Escort we've got 391. Then Pietermaritzburg and Villiers. Pietermaritzburg is here, and the Villiers we have it here. So of course, we did calculate that one. Pietermaritzburg and Villiers says 440 from Durban to Villiers is 440. Then from Durban to Pietermaritzburg is 669. So we are saying 440 minus 69. 440 minus 69. So you get your answer is 371 kilometers. So it's a matter of 371 kilometers. 371 kilometers. And then that represents the other distance that we have here. 371. So the same is saying, Susan says the distance to Johannesburg Escort is shorter, which is not true. It is not shorter. So on your conclusion, this yes, you are then saying the statement is not correct. So we just say therefore the statement is not correct. So this is what we have on that part. And moving on to the next question. 4.9.6. What is the probability of the town ending in letter G against all the towns in the map? Write your answer in decimal number, correct to one number after the comma. So of course, town ending with G, we go back to the question. We see that for the towns ending with the G, we have this one, Underberg. Underberg is one of them. You can just check it. Just remove. And of course, we also have Johannesburg. Heidelberg, which you have here. That's we've got 1, 2, 3, and then we check another one that we still have. We have got Pietermaritzburg on this part. So we have 4. The total number of towns now is going to be the denominator, whereby we have got Bethlehem 1, 2, 3, we've got Bethlehem, with this one, and this one is a road. It's not a town. And then we've got this one, Durban, Pietermaritzburg. These are all towns that we have. So to get the total number, we are now saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we have 13. So this is going to be our denominator. So 4 over 13. And if you go back to the requirement of the question, they say, write your answer in decimal. So you're going to say 13 into 4, or 4 divided by 13, and you get 0.3. So this becomes the final answer of this part.